Alright, doing this on a solo. I guess we'll get going. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Murphy Street Podcast. I'm your host, Murphy. Even though it is just me, the rules of Murphy Street are always the same. Shoes and slippers at the door. Come inside and let's talk story. Let me take a moment to say to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Murphy Street Productions. There you can find everything. So don't forget to like and subscribe the Murphy Street Podcast. Also, don't forget to ding the notifications bell so you can always be informed as soon as we drop a new video. What I wanted to start off with was, as a matter of fact, the WandaVision episode number 7. It was titled Breaking the Fourth Wall. Once the episode was over, it made a lot of sense as to why it was called Breaking the Fourth Wall. I'm just going to kind of highlight what we saw this past Thursday at night. We definitely got a strong feeling that Wanda was starting to lose control. We get the first hint of things kind of unraveling when the kids come upstairs and they're like, "Mom, you need to come. Our games are broken." They seem to be reverting back to their former forms. A PlayStation controller, maybe an Xbox controller, then it changes back to a GameCube controller. Then it goes down to an Atari controller. Then it goes all the way back to Uno. So that's kind of that regression. We get that from the kids. We get that from the milk carton. We get that from her living room and her needing to purposefully inflict her powers upon it to bring things back to normal. We also cut to Vision. He hooks up with Darcy Lewis, and Darcy doesn't remember him. She is now in the Hex and she is under Wanda's control. But long story short, he puts his little knickerdoo on her, and she comes to and she helps guide Vision through what's going on from the outside looking in. And Vision now is trying to fight his way back to his wife, to his family. The one crazy thing is that we see all these seemingly natural impediments towards Vision getting back to Wanda, but at the same time, it seems like they're just arbitrary. It just seems like things like it's basically a red light. And then once that red light turns green, we see the construction people just pull up right in front of them. I think it was a funnel cake van that they were in. And after that clears, then a school parade of children and teachers kind of cross in front. And Vision at that point realizes that it is Wanda that is keeping him from getting back, or keeping them, I should say, from getting back to Wanda. The next part that I want to highlight is the fact that Monica Rambeau, whose role in this show is starting to get more and more powerful, more and more compelling. She is definitely starting to assume her role as Photon. And what's awesome is, as she's running through, as she's tearing through the Hex, as she passes through and she gets to the other side, she actually starts to become Photon. And probably my favorite part of the episode, one that's most gratifying for, I will speak on behalf of the entire Murphy Street Podcast because we had been calling this from day one, was that Agnes reveals herself as Agatha Harkness. And they did a dope Monsters themed song, Agatha All Along. It was really dope. Definitely check it out. And then of course, last but not least, we get our first post-credit scene. And they do have kind of a lot to fill before the end of the season, which is only 2 more episodes, you guys. And so I don't know how they're going to fit all that in 30-minute episodes. We have to assume that one of these episodes, and I'm going to guess at least the finale, if not these last 2, have to be longer than 30 minutes. What am I talking about when I say that they have a lot to fill in? Well, one, the twins are now missing. The twins actually, in comics, were birthed of a stone or powers from Mephisto. But at some point, the twins in the comics, if we're following the comic storyline, they're absorbed back or theoretically eaten or attached back to Mephisto. And Wanda goes into this really dark, she is like just drowned in despair. It is in this dark time that Agatha Harkness comes along, and she actually, I don't want to say quiets her mind, but she helps her to forget so that she can, I guess, keep her sanity. And then of course we need to figure out, is there a bigger entity controlling over Agatha Harkness? Now, are they going to show us Captain Pandemonia? We've been theorizing Mephisto. One name that we haven't been thinking about is Nightmare. So very much looking forward to those 2 things being revealed. Food for thought before we move on. So if you guys remember that opening sequence in which Wanda has the theme song, it was all Wanda centric. What's crazy is I was going through the scenes and there was a serial killer type message in there that says, "I know what you are doing, Wanda." I'm wondering who would have put that in there. Why at the end of the theme song is the date the 10th circled? Actually, it's hearted. The only other time that we see a calendar that has a date earmarked, it's also hearted. but it's August 23rd. Last but not least, and this one speaks to the multiverse. What the directors did here is they put in the carnival scene, there's a girl on a unicycle. There is a girl that is bounding as Dark Phoenix. Disney bounding is when you dress like one of the characters, and it is not subtle at all. She is colored as in the red and the yellow. I will absolutely put a picture so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about, so you know I'm not crazy. So I just thought that that was either a really good tease, a really crazy troll, or some kind of foreshadowing. So once again, don't forget to enter into our WandaVision Funko Wave 1 giveaway. To do that, we do have a post on the Murphy Street 808 podcast. Go to that post, go ahead and read the instructions on how to do it. Let's move on. I said that we're going to talk about Gina Carano, and that is the topic that we're moving on to right now. Let's talk about exactly what I am baffled by. Once news broke that Gina Carano was released, I was like, well, at least I found that credit collection figure at Goodwill, so I didn't spend too much on it, thinking that the value of her toys would go down. Forgot that we are currently in a pandemic state, so the collectibles for Gina Carano has started to go through the roof. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you. We'll start with the cheaper of the two, and I don't know why this one's cheaper, but this is the credit collection Cara Dune. Now this figure right now you can get for anywhere between $85 and $130 on Mercari, something similar on eBay. Probably one of my favorites. This figure was $30, $35, even cheaper. I've seen it go for like $20. And now once again, you can't get this thing for less than $85. I don't understand it. Am I happy about it because I own it? Yes. I also did a unboxing of it while I was up at Disney World, so you can check that out on Murphy Street 808 on my Instagram. You can also check that out on Murphy Street Productions on YouTube. But this guy right here, this is the original release Gina Carano Cara Dune figure. This guy right here, the original release. The box isn't as nice as my card on the other one, but nonetheless, for this dinged up box Gina Carano Cara Dune figure, we're talking about $150 up to $300. I've seen it being sold respectively between Mercari and eBay. I have to be honest, you guys, I have no idea why that is happening. It's gone completely opposite of what I thought it would do. I thought the value of all of her things would go down. Because why? Because she said some bad things and she was let go from the brand. So ordinarily when you do that, it's just like, okay, everything goes on clearance for that person. This one went opposite, and once again, this is the dynamics of COVID, of the pandemic, really kind of wreaking its wrath upon the entire world. They also have Funko Pops. Now Funko Pops aren't fetching as high a price, but you're still talking about $30 and higher for Funko Pops. I may actually get this figure graded because it comes on a nice card back, and I want to say that it's actually in pretty good condition as a collector myself. So thank you very much for having me bring this topic up, because it is making me think that I should maybe do something like that. Now let's move on to the last topic. I want to talk about a pre-order drop for Dorkside Toys. If I like a set so much, I will sometimes pre-order them from dorksidetoys.com. The set that we're going to talk about today is the Marvel Legends Villains. This is going to be the first time that I know of that it's all villains. The figure that you'll be building is Xemnu. I have no idea who Xemnu is. I'm going to grade these figures and I'm going to put it on my scale. All right, let's start from the top. I'm going to try and put it in order of what I would say is the least popular to the most popular. I'm going to say is my favorite. Please excuse me if I'm wrong, but it's my show, so I can do that. But the first figure will be the AIM Scientist Supreme. She's considered to be a genius level biochemist. Funny thing is, she just looks like a regular AIM agent, and I'm gonna say that she doesn't really come with anything too dope. Like you're not gonna look at it and go, oh my god, I need to have that data pad that she has. Now she does have a different visor than your regular AIM agents, but it's hard to not love Marvel Legends looks because they look really good. They're 6-inch articulated, very similar to Black Series. Yeah, I'll give it a 9. The next figure we'll move on to is Marvel's Arcade. Now this one's kind of cool. He almost looks like the Lex Luthor from the new DC universe. His main adversaries are X-Men, X-Force, and Excalibur. Kind of like Marvel's version of, if you were to smash the Joker and the Riddler together, I feel like that's how you come up with Marvel's Arcade. The thing that gets me really is the green inner shirt with the really big yellow and red polka dot bow tie. It's kind of funny. Because it's unique, because I love the fact that it's in a suit, I'm gonna give it a 9.5. So they're scoring pretty good so far as a set. The next one we'll talk about is Lady Deathstroke, an adversary of the X-Men. Her real name is Yuriko Oyama, but a regular foe of the X-Men, most especially though Wolverine. You know, the one thing I love about Marvel Legends is they did well to capture the look of Lady Deathstrike as you would know her in the comics. This Lady Deathstrike, if anything, will sell for nostalgia. And because I know who she is, because this is the first time I'm seeing a Lady Deathstrike figure, I'm gonna give this it's hard not to give it a 9.5 or 10. You know, I'll give her a 9.5. I may change that to a 10 once I get her in hand. All right, moving on. Maybe the Hood will be less known than Lady Deathstrike. But anyway, the Hood, I do not believe has been in any movies that I know, has not hit the big screen as far as I know. But the Hood is known as Parker Robbins, and this is what I thought was funny, so I had to share it with everybody. AKA Smokey McChimney. He was a small-time crook who became more than that after being imbued by magic by the boots and cloak that he stole. His enemies include Bucky Barnes, they include Captain America, Carol Danvers, Daredevil, and of course, Doctor Strange. He actually looks like just what I'm gonna guess is the Stan Lee sculpt. He does come with the magic hood. Definitely looks like something Doctor Strange would come across because it does look like Doctor Strange's cloak as well. I'm gonna rate the Hood a 9. The Hood doesn't look that great. Also, once again, I said that the sculpt looked like it was just taken from the Stan Lee sculpt, so which was also just taken from the Peter Parker sculpt. So they're triplicating the use of this sculpt again. The next one is a definitely popular one, the Red Skull. Audiences would have seen him in Captain America and Infinity War as a Hydra villain. He, as a matter of fact, comes with the Tesseract, which I think is so dope. He comes with 2 different hand swaps, so 4 other hands, a head swap, the Tesseract, and of course his Hydra gun. It does have the Hydra emblem on it. It looks like a little machine gun type thing. This Red Skull, you know, this is probably the simplest of all the figures that we have coming out here. Bam, I'm sorry, I'm gonna give this will be our first 10 figure. Because they thought of the head swap, the hand swaps, and the accuracy to the character, the comic book character. And of course, if you can get any of the Infinity Stones in a toy, you definitely do it. That's why I have the Loki that came in a 2-pack. We have 2 more left. This figure would be none other than Dormammu. Dormammu's main foe, obviously, is Doctor Strange. This one comes with 2 fire effects. The look of it, man, is so great. It is very, very vintage, very retro Dormammu. I'm gonna stick him with a 9.5. On to our last figure, and this one is my favorite. Even though the box says Doctor Doom, this one is actually God Doom. And if you are a comic book enthusiast, you know who God Doom is. And I'm gonna be honest, I forgot. I was not fully aware of who God Doom is and who God Doom was. But I'm gonna be honest, a friend of mine brought me up on game. He actually sent me the comic strip that made me go, oh my God, I need this figure. Easily my favorite in this wave. He's less common in the white form, but amazingly powerful. Let me kind of take you guys through, walk you through what comes with this figure, and maybe it might pique your interest. He has 2 right hand swaps and 1 left hand swap. He also has his little Ruger pistol. Or the skull and spine that accompany this figure belong to Thanos, the Great Titan. That is right. God Doom ripped Thanos' head off. That is how powerful God Doom is. But I can tell you, for Dorkside Toys, it is going for $169.99. So we are at that time of the show right now where we are wrapping it up. This portion is called What's on My Table. Today we talked about Marvel's WandaVision, Star Wars, more Marvel with the Villains Wave. Well, let's talk about some DC. And what's going to be on my table for today is going to be the Dark Knight's Metal Robin Earth 22. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors, our partner sponsor at From the Heart Hawaii. If you are a collector of any kind, you live here on Hawaii, you need to go to From the Heart Hawaii, because that is a great jumping off point for you to find whatever it is that you are looking for. Anything that I talked about here, you can find some variation of at From the Heart Hawaii. As Starflora says herself that Ken is always hooking you up with deals. He absolutely is. A great guy, always wanting to engage the community. They will have AlohaCon coming up, and that'll be March 6th and March 7th. Also our sponsor, Garen Chan. Well, I want to remind you that you can always listen to the Murphy Street Podcast here on Spreaker, on Apple Podcast, on iHeartRadio, and also on Spotify. We will be going every Sunday. So that'll wrap it up for me, you guys, for the evening. Appreciate you very much. And until I see you guys next time, don't forget your slippers. Aloha.